How are you?
Peppy, this is Lisette.
Good. What's your
Lionfish
name?
hunter, remember? I was telling you about her? Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
My 2-year-old daughter can't take her eyes off Lisette Keus, Curaçao's famous lionfish huntress.
Yeah, you want to aim for the head and hit the brain, and then you have like an instant kill. And then
We're on the island's longest beach, meeting her and her friend, Dunia.
she's the tough one and the one that like double checks the things.
Got it.
And then I'm more like the stronger one, the donkey that carries the gear. So this is
There's a
nice.
symbiotic relationship.
Exactly. Yeah. So when we
Ask any local, and they'll tell you they're the best hunters on the island.
Friday is our goals out day. So we are not normal girls, so we go for hunting.
In the Caribbean, the lionfish population is out of control.
So for the people who are around, lionfish are an invasive species. That means they don't belong in the Caribbean.
Without a natural predator to keep them in check, they're wreaking havoc on the local fish population, which could throw the whole marine ecosystem off balance. That's where Lisette comes in. Her restaurant serves lionfish 5 ways. She uses their fins to make earrings, their spines for toothpicks, and whatever else left, she feeds to the stray cats.
Oh my God. They're moving like crazy.
In just 1 hour, Lisette and Dunia managed to kill about 15 pounds worth of lionfish.
That's a lot.
Except lionfish can lay up to 30,000 eggs every 4 days, which is why Lisette's business is more than a restaurant or a storefront. It's a movement. She's built an entire community of lionfish hunters dedicated to preserving the health of local reefs.
That's okay. You want your goggles? You want to go lionfish hunting with the girls?
You can swim.
Are you
without
joining
your
us with the girl? Are you joining us to catch some fish?
Even my daughter wants to join, and I gotta be honest, I couldn't ask for a better role model. I'm Michael Motomedi, and you're listening to No Fixed Address, the world's most extraordinary people, presented by Matador Network. 2 years ago, I quit my job as a marketing executive and decided to travel the world with my wife
Hi, I'm Vanessa.
and our baby daughter. We sold our home, our cars, packed a bunch of clothes into a small suitcase, and now live in a new country every single month. And something I've come to love about living on the road is the people I meet. So I decided to start a podcast. That way you can meet them too. A large, grinning mouth, thick black stripes and spikes coming from every part of this body. I'm not talking about a lion. I'm talking about a lionfish.
They are pretty scary looking.
It should be called tigerfish, to be honest, because it has stripes.
Well, Lisette said that in Dutch they're called coral devils.
Yeah, I think coral devils is definitely a better description. But wow, that was quite the experience. Not only eating it, but watching them hunt these lionfish. But what was interesting to me and how I kind of what I thought was super, I guess, comforting was that the lionfish, they don't really move. They don't attack. They basically just stand still. And so the way that Lisette was describing it to us, and I thought that was super cool, was that the only reason why you get stung by a venomous lionfish is your own fault.
Yeah, basically like a cactus. I mean, I've seen lionfish in the wild before. They're so beautiful. Like their wings flowing in the water. They're hypnotic. Can't stop
Yeah, but
watching
you don't
them.
really know that they're not going to attack you, right?
No,
Like-
I didn't even know they were venomous until we met Lisette.
Oh, I knew that for sure. I mean,
So that's really good to
yeah.
know.
yeah. Well, were you going to touch it?
I got pretty close.
It's like one of the most terrifying looking animals in the world. You're going to
No.
go, oh, let me touch that little thing. No, for me, not
Yeah,
for me.
I was sticking my face into caves where they were in Bali. But how beautiful was this beach that we went to? It's called Abao.
Yeah. First of all, every single beach in Curaçao had its own charm, its own beauty. Some for traditional reasons, like extremely clear water or neon blue, like water I've never seen so blue in my life, right? Or there was even some beaches that were cove-like. And They didn't really have crystal clear water or super blue water, but there was something in the air. There was a breeze coming down. It was just a gorgeous, gorgeous island. I mean, probably one of my most favorite islands I've ever been on.
The beaches were outstanding, but the food was what really surprised me. The food was really good and a lot of different variety.
Tourism Board Curaçao, if you hear me on this podcast, start a tagline, the foodie of the Caribbean islands, Curaçao.
You ate lamb's head, you ate goat burgers, you ate mondongo, which is stomach lining. I say you because I did not participate in some of them, obviously. You had iguana wings. That's one I didn't participate in. Iguana wings? Can you say that?
Yeah,
Chicken wings, iguana wings. But beyond that, there's really cool restaurants in Willemstad.
I agree. I think this idea of being a foodie city or a foodie island or a foodie country, for me, has a lot of different definitions, right? I like to be able to kind of go get down and dirty and eat interesting things that are made by locals and are for locals, certain things like iguana or, goat's head stew or some things that I actually really enjoy. But, tourists might not. But I love a town that actually goes and juxtapositions that into something else and has a massive fine dining restaurant scene, has awesome restaurants and pubs, has snacks, has interesting things like a Lionfish restaurant.
Nice.
But, her shop serves lionfish 5 different ways, I think. All of them actually fantastic, all of them tasting different. And I think that's really the coolest part about lionfish, in my opinion, is that it's very malleable. It's almost like a chameleon of flavors. And what I loved was this little town that she was in. Her store was in this town called Curaçao.
It's not a town. It's a little village within Willemstad. It's more like a neighborhood.
It's a neighborhood. I think at one point it was privately owned, and now it's like owned by I think it's still privately owned, but like it's owned by 3 or 4 different people. But supposedly it's only been renovated the last couple of years. I think it went down in the dumps for a while.
There's pink, blue, like every color that you could imagine. There's a bunch of restaurants. They do activations all the time. So sometimes you'll have like live music going on. It's beautiful.
We stayed there the entire time we were there.
I was so happy with that.
It's walking distance to the bridge where you get over where the other restaurants are, where Peter Mai is. Definitely recommend Curaçao.
It's in this part of town called Otra Banda, which means the other side. It's basically the other side of the bridge.
I felt safe. I loved the weather. We were on the off season, which I loved even more because it wasn't even that crowded. A lot of the cruise ships weren't there. And the people, I keep saying this, the people are the most important part. People, the most important part of people, right?
What?
I'm talking to the people about how important the people are. You understand what I'm saying?
People are pretty important. We got it. We got the point.
Talking about amazing people, Lisette, not only from her personality perspective, her ambition, her vision, but she has a really cool side about her too, because she's like, yeah, I really like what I'm doing because it really helps the ocean, but I love killing those bastards.
Yeah.
I was like, would you kill those bastards if it wasn't good for the ocean? She's like, nope, unfortunately not.
Yeah.
And that puts Lisette in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Big heart, killer attitude.
Wow, I like that.
Right?
Okay. So Lisette was born in the Netherlands, but moved to Curaçao as a kid. She's got a store and a restaurant called Lionfish Caribbean in Willemstad, which is the capital of Curaçao. She's been at this for 14 years, figuring out how to connect her business with the community, how to educate people on the threat that lionfish pose to reefs, teaching local cooks how to clean lionfish quickly and safely, figuring out tasty recipes, just generally getting people interested in eating and hunting lionfish. She's a local legend and someone you've got to meet if you're on the island. And pro tip, you'll most likely run into her and Dunya on a Friday on their girls' day out at one of the local beaches. After their weekly dive, they stick around to educate people on the beach, sometimes make ceviche right then and there. And believe me, there's nothing like trying it fresh, right out of the water and knowing that every bite is helping our oceans.
Just so you know, this episode is sponsored by Guide Geek. If you're booking a trip, check out Guide Geek, a new way to plan travel. It's an AI chatbot built on OpenAI. But what's cool is that it's actually curated by human travel experts at Matador Network, the world's largest independent travel publisher. I've been using it for a while now, mostly on WhatsApp, but you can use it on Instagram Messenger too. I often ask for advice on what neighborhoods to stay in when I'm booking accommodations, or you can get a little deeper and ask how Anthony Bourdain would enjoy a specific city. It's amazing. Head to guidegeek.com to try GuideGeek for free and start planning your next trip. That's GuideGeek.com to start planning your next trip with your newest AI travel assistant. Lisette,
Hello.
the famous lionfish hunter. Where are we right now?
Right now you're in Lionfish Caribbean, and that's my store / restaurant / education center, and it's located in Curaçao.
In Williams. Is it Willemstad?
Yeah, Willemstad. Yeah.
Willemstad.
Yes.
Okay, that's that Dutch influence. Coming.
Dutch influence, yes.
And so I think first, everyone wants to know, how did you end up here to begin with? Like,
Well,
take me back.
Okay, so I was born in the Netherlands, and I was 7 years old, and then my parents had a crazy idea to buy a camper van and put it on the boat to Australia and New Zealand and to travel.
Wait,
So-
hold on a second. 'Cause I wasn't expecting this answer.
No.
There's a camper
That's
van.
I started at the beginning, right?
Yeah, there's a camper van, like an actual like RV type thing,
Yeah, well, it was an old flower truck, the Netherlands, of
added
course.
with a bed on the back or something.
Yeah, they rebuilt it into a camper van. Yeah.
They placed it on some sort of cargo ship,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys went to Australia.
Yeah. So I always tell my parents it's like that's where it all started. So, so what happened after that? It's like them to blame. And then we returned to the Netherlands and to the same city with the same school and the same everything. And then I was like, yeah, my parents were like, yeah, we were so different now after this great experience. And that's why they started to look around all over the world. And so we ended up in Curaçao. So,
All of you.
Yeah, all of us. So we moved to Curaçao when I was 8 years old. And we lived here for 5 years. And that's where I, met the island.
Talk to me about Curaçao a little bit. Like, how beautiful is this place?
Yeah, it's great. Oh, you start really to smile, huh?
I know. I mean, I've
It's
fallen
like
in love with Curaçao.
His ears getting visitors from his
Yeah.
mouth.
But like, if you had one piece of advice for someone that was going to come to Curaçao, what would you tell them to do? What would you tell them about Curaçao?
Yeah, I always say that Curaçao is a crazy little rock because you cannot say it's one thing because it's Caribbean, but it has a lot of Dutch influence. It has the ocean, but it also has a lot of culture. It's very colorful. It's safe. Of course, things happen, but it's a really, really safe island also to wander around and to explore. We have great restaurants and places to eat, right? You have
This
been
is like the
exploring
culinary capital of the Caribbean, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fantastic.
It is, right? Yeah. And Curaçao always has been the bigger sister of Aruba, but the unknown sister. And it's a little bit a hidden gem. And now people start to find it. So
I mean, it's only
getting-
3 hours from Miami. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
Fast.
Direct flights. Yeah.
You said you were here for 5 years. Did you end up just staying here, or
Well, I went to university
where?
in the Netherlands.
Okay.
But I was really active student, but not so active in like studying. So
I can relate to that, by the way.
yeah, it was like a lot of parties and a lot of fun. and-
Extracurricular activities.
yeah, right. Yeah, side activities where you actually learn most, in my opinion. And after a few years, I went to Bangladesh, a little country next to India,
Yep.
to do volunteer work. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I know that I was not really made for that mainstream life, where it's like you graduate high school or college or whatever, university, you start to look for a job, you build a family. I was like, no, there's so much more in the world and adventure. And
Well, we can relate to that a lot as well, too.
Yeah, right? Traveling.
Just grab a 9 to 5 and
yeah.
start working from this hour to that hour until 40 years goes by, and then you don't know what happened.
Exactly, yeah. Well, sometimes I wish I would be made for that, because it can also be very restless, right? To live alive and traveling and not settling. But it's also very
ups and
adventurous.
downs, right? I mean, we talk about it all the time, me and Vanessa. Like, every time we start whining about our life and the discomforts that we have to remind ourselves that, that comes with this unorthodox way of life. So if we want these awesome things about seeing the world and meeting new people, we're also going to have to deal with the discomforts of not having, that routine.
Yeah.
Not having a home, for example, in our world. So it's hard.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So I've been raised with that unorthodox life also. My brother and my sister actually chose to live a little bit more like settled life, super funny. But both of my parents are more adventurous. But my mom always taught me that if there's something you don't like in your life to do, it's like some things you have to do it, like doing the dishes. It's like you can whine about it, but it costs you a lot of negative energy. Or if you just like change your mind, make it a little party, then at least there's like, make it something nice in your life. So that's what I also do. What you guys said is that,
accept
the bad things.
Look at the positives.
Yeah, exactly.
And just move on, right?
Yeah.
And when did you start lionfish hunting?
I was working as a journalist. So I started to work here for the local newspaper and for the local radio station. And I'm a diver since I was 10 years old. And so I started diving again. So I was diving and I saw this weird looking fish. And I was like, what is that doing here? I don't recognize it from back in the days. So I wrote an article about it. I did an interview with a marine biologist. It's like, I saw this weird fish. Well, then he taught me everything. And in my research, I found out that they're invasive and that people are hunting them in Florida. And that they were selling the lionfish fillet in New York for $160 a pound.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? So we started to catch lionfish, but just to kill them. Just during the dive, to shoot the fish and to leave them on the reef. But I was very aware of the fact that it's an animal and you're taking its life. So it's like, why would you just kill it and leave it? Maybe we can do more with it. So we started to take it out. I started to eat the fish. And the first fish was really funny. We cleaned the fish and we're like, okay, you're going to try it. No, you're going to try it. No, you're going to try it. Like, all very afraid of the venom, of course. But yeah, there were so many. This was in 2010. They were like everywhere, the lionfish. We didn't know what to do with all the fish we were catching. So I started to go to restaurants, but people were afraid of the fish. It's like, well, no, they have the spikes and we don't know how to clean them. So I learned the cooks how to clean them, what to make of them. And then it's like, okay, this cooler is mine. And then the next one you can buy from me. So that's how I really started a little bit in the lionfish business, yeah.
What makes the lionfish such a problem? What do they do?
Yeah, so lionfish are an invasive species, which means they are not from the Caribbean. They are originally from the Indo-Pacific and the Red Sea. So easy to say, Asia and Egypt. Mm-hmm. And they came through aquarium trading to Florida. And people had them in an aquarium. They're really pretty and majestic to see in an aquarium, but they eat a lot. So if you have all your nice colored little reef fish...
Nemo, say goodbye.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Nemo is gone.
Basically, what you're saying is that the Floridians had all these lionfish in their aquariums because they thought they were beautiful, but then they started eating all of their other fish, so then they would drop them off.
Yeah, they would like throw them back in the ocean.
And then they would migrate all the way to the Caribbean, basically.
And then there's a lot of stories. It's like there's in the 90s, there was this big storm and more lionfish ended up in the ocean. And eventually there were enough lionfish to really start
So
to
basically,
thrive,
Start a community.
This is kind of like another thing to blame America on, is what you're saying. What makes lionfish so bad?
Yeah, so lionfish, they don't have natural predators here in the Caribbean. That's one thing. And then they eat a lot of the local fish species, especially the juvenile, before they can reproduce. So that means there's a major impact on the local fish population. And
wait. Sorry, that's actually super interesting. So you're saying that the lionfish are predatory on other baby fish prior to them going through puberty, so they're not able to have reproduction organs, I guess, in a sense. And so they eat them, they kill them, and the other fish don't have time to reproduce.
And we already have overfishing, of course, by human. And basically the human, they eat all the larger fish, all the adult fish. So the adult grouper, the adult snapper, which reproduce the most eggs. And now we have a lionfish that eats all the small fish, all the juvenile snapper, juvenile grouper. And that works towards each other. So if you don't have new fish coming up from here, you take out all the big fish from there, eventually in the middle, there's not a lot left. And that's the big problem. And we need fish on the reefs to keep the ecological system. And we want to keep the ecological system of the reefs because that's a huge part also of the whole ocean system. And oceans reproduce a lot of our oxygen also and is our lifeline, basically. So it's important to keep that healthy.
So it's like a double whammy. Lionfish.
It's not a double whammy. Yeah. It's like, hey, we have to kill these lionfish or we're not going to be able to breathe.
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, and very sure to come back to that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I was like, okay, human are invasive and invading and bad, and lionfish. So who do we start to catch? Is that?
If you're enjoying No Fixed Address, the world's most extraordinary people, we know you'll enjoy Travel That Matters. This season, Travel That Matters is interviewing master chefs like Wolfgang Puck and Danny Meyer, the founder of Shake Shack. Wolfgang Puck talks about his culinary adventures, including the time he was presented with 120 pounds of camel meat, and delves into how his love for travel has shaped his innovative approach to blending local ingredients with international flavors. Danny Meyer explains how childhood travel experiences shaped his restaurant empire and explores the power of family travel, the culinary scene in New York City, and innovative trends in food. Step into the exclusive world of luxury travel on the podcast Travel That Matters and open the doors to top food, adventure, and experiences. Find Travel That Matters wherever you listen to podcasts.
So what does a typical hunt look like?
Oh, it's so much fun.
We were with you on the beach, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah, well, so...
let's forget about the boat. I just talk about how you just walk off into the ocean.
Yeah, but that's really cool something because in Curaçao, we have around 70 dive spots that we can reach by shore. So we don't need a boat to go to the dive spots. So
is that pretty unique?
It is pretty unique, yeah. Well, Bonaire has it too, and there's places around the world that have it, but not so many. It's so easy, accessible, and great... visibility and no current or almost no current.
So clear. It's incredibly clear.
Yeah, so you enter from this beautiful beach, you swim out, and then in the meantime, my friend Dunya and I were just chit-chatting and having our girl talk. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then we go down, and then you kind of basically enter this total, serene world where you just have little fish, and the sound it's like little I don't know the English words, but in Dutch we would say knisper. It's like little
bubbles.
Yeah, bubbles also, and the breathing, of course. But you have the reef makes a nice sound.
I was gonna say I don't know if we have a word for it, but it's the sound of the ocean. I mean, it's like I don't scuba, I don't dive too much, but I snorkel, and I just like to keep my ears under the water for hours at a time. And I just hear the rocks, the sand, the ocean breathing, the waves above, a boat in the background. Because, sound travels through water way easier.
Yeah, oh, yes.
You can hear things from miles away.
Yeah, and you're like, where is it coming from?
But most importantly, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But when I'm in the water, it's the closest thing to an alien world for me.
For me, alien always sounds a little bit scary or something. But that's not down there. It's like really, it's peaceful and it's quiet, and you're with the breathing, and you have this fish swimming by. But in the meantime, you're hunting. So you're totally focused.
Ooh.
And you have to be focused also because, of course, the lionfish, they have the venomous spines. You want to see them. You have to control your breathing. You have, so you need to be focused. And I really like that because sometimes my brain can go all over the place, and I can go all over the place, a little bit chaotic. So down there, it's just like me, my air tank, breathing, and the fish.
So you're in there, you're living your dream, it's peaceful, it's beautiful, you're regulating, you see a lionfish. What happens?
So when you see a lionfish, you keep your distance, you control yourself, you load your spear, and then you kind of like a cat approach the lionfish.
From the back or the front, or it doesn't matter?
From the side, mostly.
Side.
Mostly from the side, yeah. Okay. Because you want to aim for the head, and then...
quick kill.
Yeah, instant kill. Yeah.
A humane kill, as they call it.
A humane kill, yeah. There's a few reasons why you want to aim for the head, because you want to hit the brain, and then the fish is dead instantly. Also, it's the way to put the fish into the tube we use, the zookeeper. The tube protects us from the venomous spines, but it can...
It's easier to
put it in,
to load it up.
Exactly, yeah. But the most important part, you don't want to have your spear tips through the meat, because you don't want to have blood in your fillet.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
How many lionfish do you kill on one given hunt? Average.
Like me?
Yeah, you.
Or any diver?
You.
Okay, me. Average, we count in kilos. So I would say...
Give me numbers. How many fish?
Yeah, 5 kilos, which are around like 40 fish.
40 fish. And how long is each dive on average?
60 minutes, 50 to 60 minutes.
So in 1 hour, you catch 40 fish or kill 40 fish.
Yes.
Okay, that number to me blows my mind out of the water, no pun intended. How many of these lionfish are being birthed on a given day, week, month? Tell me about that.
A lot, yeah.
Tell me how many.
It's one of the reasons why they're such a great invaders, because lionfish reproduce 2 million eggs a year.
2 million eggs a year?
Yeah. They reproduce twice a week, and then up to 60,000 eggs per week. So that's it's kind of very horny fish.
Yeah. That's what makes them so successful.
That makes them very successful.
Lionfish, the horny fish. Wait, no, this is not a joke. 60,000 eggs per week are being laid by lionfish?
Yeah.
Each
crazy.
fish?
Yeah, well, it depends a little bit on the size, but on average, yeah.
My God,
But then you can control a species best by doing birth control. And this is very cool of lionfish, is that they have bags with like their egg bags, and in there is a gel. And egg sac. Yeah. And in the sac, there's a gel, and there's a repellent also in the gel. So the eggs of the lionfish are not eaten. So for example, like caviar and other like fish eggs are eaten by us, by other fish, by whatever, But the eggs of the lionfish are not eaten. And that's why there's 2 million eggs ending up in the ocean every year from one single lionfish. And there's a lot of them, we don't know the percentage, but from those 2 million, a lot actually are successful in becoming little fish.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. Because people other fish don't eat them.
Don't eat the eggs, yeah.
That's fascinating.
This is like the perfect predatory animal.
Yeah, they say that's the biggest invasion in the world.
I mean, not only do they reproduce at a massive rate. Obviously, I don't know the numbers of other fish, but this sounds astronomical. Number one. Number two, other fish don't eat them because they're venomous.
Yes.
Right? Talk to me about the venom. So how does the spike structure work on a lionfish? Where are they located?
So they have in total like 20 venomous spines, and they have 13 on top of their back. And then they have 2 on their belly fin, or the pelvic fin. They have 3 anal spines on their anal fin, and then 2 on the tail. I don't know. You start laughing.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, anal spikes. How am I not going to laugh at that?
was pretty smart because it's protecting the reproduction organs, right?
I mean, tell that to like the BDSM guys. They're going to be like, we got some anal spikes too. You know?
Wow, that's crazy. Because I always assumed it was just the top spikes. But it's really like any fish comes at it from any direction, you're getting a spike in your mouth.
Well, it seems like,
exactly, yeah.
It seems like it's protecting its vital parts.
That's the thing, yeah. They're protecting the parts that are important. So the heart is protecting with 2 spines. The reproduction organs or the cloaca with 3 spines. The tail, because you don't have eyes in your back, are protected with spines. And then you have the 13 spines on top, of course.
And of course, the anal.
Yeah, there's a reproduction.
She mentioned the anal. You have to repeat it.
You want me to repeat the anal word, right?
Have you ever been stung?
Yes.
How many
Multiple times.
Really?
Yeah, but I always say a carpenter hits himself on the finger with a hammer once in a while, right? So it just happens. When you lose your focus, it
I'd rather get hit
happens.
by a hammer than a spike from a lionfish.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's maybe true.
Let's
but
cue the picture of her hand.
Yeah.
I mean, is it
it's
explosive?
painful. It's painful. It's really painful, yeah. Yeah, so what happens if you sting yourself? Because the fish will never attack, and that's super important. So they have the spines as their defense mechanism. Like a cactus has spines, a lionfish has spines.
Mm-hmm.
So you get stung if you push yourself into the spines, which is your own fault, and it's your own stupid fault, a very painful fault, but your own fault.
Well, you said when you're cleaning it. So does that mean that even when it's dead, it's venomous?
Yes, as long as it's wet and cold. It's a protein, so the moment it's heated and dried, the venom dissolves.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's scary. So not only is it scary to hunt, not only is it scary for fish
Well,
to
it's
eat.
not so scary to hunt.
You said, I mean, if you touch it in the wrong way or you get it in the wrong way, you're going to get hit.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
maybe
you
it's
have
not
to be
scary
clear.
for you, it's scary for us.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Maybe someone
is
who's
it.
done it 1,000 times, yeah, it's not scary, but the first time it's scary. Is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
the first time, of course, it's scary. But after that, it's like...
After you hunt the lionfish, you bring it into the shop, what happens then?
Yeah, so we bring it into the shop. We clean the fish. The meat of the fish is served here as really nice delicacies. You can eat them as ceviche. You can eat them as sashimi or tartare. We have fried fish, all different kinds of styles. Because lionfish is a really nice meat or fish to work with. It's very high in omega-3 and very low in mercury. So it's also a very healthy substitute.
But you don't just eat it. You also give the remains to the stray cats. I'm looking at your earrings right now. You make jewelry out of the spikes. I mean, talk to me about this.
Yeah, so after cleaning the fish, we eat it. And then we have, of course, the carcass and everything. The stuff we can't use, we bring that to a place here in Curaçao where there's a lot of stray cats and back in the ocean. So the whole system, it goes back into the system. And the fins we use for jewelry. So a few years ago, I was working as a fisherman. I quit my job as a journalist because I wanted to live from lionfish. It was like, okay,
Wow.
I'm just going to go as a fisherwoman. I'm going to catch the fish, sell it to the restaurants, and that's my life. But then you're going to push yourself to go deeper, to go longer. You want to catch more fish because now you have to pay your rent. You have to eat something and not lionfish, because after a while eating a lot of lionfish, you want to eat something different, right? So you need to catch a lot of fish to make a living out of it. It's like, okay, now this is not going to work after a few months of doing this. I had the idea. I'm a trained solo diver. So I went to the dive shop. I took my gear. I went down to catch a fish, cut off the fins, and I dried it in the sun, and I prepped it with like a spray paint. I put a little O-ring from a dive tank on it, a little hook, and I had in 3 hours from a dead fish, I had earrings. And I was so proud of this. This was amazing. So I went to the bar with my friends, like a nice happy hour. And I told them, it's like, guys, I'm going to pay this bucket of beers because my jewelry of my earrings, this is going to be my business. And they're like, really like, you're crazy. You're never going to work. What? Jewelry made of fish? I'm like, really? This is going to be a business. Like, okay, you're crazy. And after 3 days, I was walking around and I'm like, oh, what is that smell? What is that smell? My earrings started to rot. They're like, oh shit, okay, now I have to change my prep ways. So that was really funny, yeah.
And now you have all these beautiful earrings and so many different styles too, which is really cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. But also that was trial and error and materials and ways.
But,
and yeah.
you know, that does make me think about the cycle of life, right? And I want to better understand what you think your role is in this cycle of life, because you catch the fish, you hunt the lionfish that saves the coral. You take the lionfish and you feed the human. You take the remains of the lionfish and feed the stray cats. And you take the other remains, which is the spikes and the bones, and you make actual jewelry of it.
Yeah.
I mean, do you find yourself someone who is, I guess, a part of it, or someone who's trying to fix it?
My mom always told me, if you have a problem, solve it. And it's more like, there's this problem. And the first problem started with, there's this lionfish. Now we catch it. So that's the solution for the problem. But then after catching it, there's a lot of, what do you do with the fish? So you created a new problem. And then there was another solution. The solution was eating it. But then you had all the remains, and then the new solution was, what are you doing with that? So it's basically finding creative solutions for problems. That's actually how I see it.
I think you've simplified it perfectly, but in essence, I mean, you really are encapsulating the cycle of life within these four walls and the ocean. I mean, it's quite fascinating. It's pretty cool. Like Lisette is seeing the cycle of life and being a part of it in a real way.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I think it's a really beautiful way to put it. I never really looked at it like that.
Do you find that you've found your passion?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because in this business, Lionfish Caribbean, for me, everything comes together. Because it's like the adventure and the hunting and being in the ocean, but also the education and the entertainment with people, the contact with people to share and to talk. Good food, of course. Super cool jewelry, and
you've hit all of it.
I think that's the thing. And for me, the business part, I really like to also be creative in creative business and stuff like that. So that is for me now it's to really grow the business and stuff like that is a new adventure and new passion also. So that is also comes down there.
So you've hit kind of like you've hit the perfect grand slam, right? I mean, what advice would you give to a person who's looking for their passion? A lot of people find their passions and sometimes it just doesn't happen, and that's okay. We understand life is hard. But I think most of the time, at least in this generation and many generations before us, finding your passion is very difficult.
Yeah, but you know what the funny thing is? It's like it's difficult when you stay in that mainstream. After college, you buy a house, you have the kids. You will never find, well, not never, but maybe you will find your passion, but it's a little bit harder because I found my passion is something I didn't even know that was a thing, you know?
You have to get out there.
You have to get out there. You have
That's
to get
what I
lost.
say.
You have to get lost to find it, basically.
So you think the difficult part is disconnecting with that routine, with that type of life that everybody expects you to have. That's the difficult part?
Yeah, of course, that's a difficult part. Yeah, you're going to lose people on the way. You're going to be how do you say that? In a confrontation with people, with yourself, with even maybe times that you don't have enough money to eat, or how.
But I think what she's saying is travel. I don't know, at the essence of it, you have to leave your hometown.
Yeah, but you know what? The funny thing is, travel just for the sake of traveling, that is also not something I support. Like travel and talk to the people and stay there for a longer time, get into the community, go out there, maybe work somewhere for a while, And
we say that all the time. That's why everywhere we go, we stay at least a month.
But then you start
to
to know the people.
We want to understand the food. We want to understand the culture.
Yeah.
We're not going to a resort. We're not resort people. We don't go sit in a resort and eat hamburgers the same way I've been eating hamburgers back at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I meant by travel isn't vacation. What I meant by travel is to experience other cultures, to open up your mind and diversify the way that you look at the world. Once you do that, things happen.
Yeah.
And you find things that you love. I mean, could you imagine that you're 20 years old going to college in the Netherlands, trying to be an activist, lawyer, that you're going to one day hunt lionfish for a living?
Well, exactly. Yeah. No, nobody can imagine that, right? It's, like back then, even this whole job didn't exist. So
Yeah.
no, and you
something that
have to
came
get
together.
out there. You have to, but also you don't have to be afraid to live with not a lot, you know? And of course, a lot of people, they come from this life standard, and to let go of the life standard, that makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that it is uncomfortable, but because you're used to something different, it makes you feel like it.
And when there's a will, there's a way. I think
for
you
sure.
have to have that will.
Yeah.
You have to have that goal-oriented. And sometimes I think I want you to repeat what you said because I loved it more than anything. Do you have to get lost to get found? What did you say?
Yeah, you have to get lost to find
Yourself?
your way again. Yeah, to find yourself, to find...
You have to get lost to find yourself. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, this is a quote from some writer. It's not my thing.
Doesn't
I just
matter.
use it.
We gave it to you, Lisette. It's yours now.
But it's also cool because now you've created this big ecosystem with other fishermen and fisherwomen that can
Yeah.
do
So
this.
So you've created like a culture here, a little
community,
subculture.
yeah.
A little community of
Yeah.
lionfish hunters.
Yeah, but that's the funny thing. That's why I can do what we do here is we are the only one in the world, Lionfish Caribbean, with this concept. We built a community of lionfish hunters. So they are connected to us. They can bring their fish. We pay well. We made it easy for them so they can bring their fish 24/7. And then we added value to the fish by using different parts of the fish that other people consider waste. And it's
So you
not
can pay a little bit more maybe because you get a little bit more out of it.
Exactly, yeah. I started it, but it's a community effort. So we do it all together to run this business, yeah.
I mean, with the amount of hunters that you have out there right now as a community, do you find that have you found an impact? I mean, they lay so many eggs. I would.
Yeah. But people say they see less lionfish. The question is, are there less lionfish?
Or
Because
are they
we
just
don't.
hiding better?
Yeah, exactly. Or are they hiding better? So you can find lionfish still at 1,000 feet of water, right? So it's depth we cannot even reach. We don't know what's going on down there.
Okay, at the end of every conversation, we love to do a speed round. I'm going to ask you 4 questions. Just answer them. Don't think about them. I just want to hear your gut instinct.
Okay.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Everywhere in the world.
You have to pick one. Gun to your
I
head.
have to pick one.
Gun to your head.
Then I think I would live in Colombia.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
so excited.
Yeah.
I want to
As
give you a
we
hug
know.
right now.
As we know, Vanessa, my wife, is Colombian.
Yeah.
And a lot of lionfish.
We
And
know
lionfish, yes.
We're in a speed round here.
Okay,
guys.
so-
Oh, yeah, okay. We'll talk about this another time.
What are you most scared of?
I used to be scared of things, but just like living your life, I found out that there's always this solution and there's always this way. So, and if not, then it's also fine. At the end, you're gonna die anyway. So,
Basically, she's saying she's not scared of anything.
She's
Well,
a lionfish
okay, well-
hunter.
no, I am scared.
Huntress.
Actually, I am scared for moray eels chasing me underwater, and then Dunya is always there to save me. Oh, and that it freaks me out.
What is your
Valid.
biggest regret?
And not traveling after I finished high school, not start younger.
And lastly, and most importantly, Lisette, what makes you happiest?
The happiest is the moment I descend, I'm really getting into this high, going into the deep blue, but then you're getting high. And that's really, that's what makes me the happiest, actually.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Lisette, thank you so much for your
But
time.
it sounds so tacky, right?
No, it's
it doesn't.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you
totally
so
relate.
much. We really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you so
and,
much for the invitation, your time.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Once again, thank you for listening. It's not every day you get to meet a huntress. I hope you enjoyed the show. No Fixed Address is presented by Matador Network.
Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. We release new episodes every other Thursday.
Bye.
We'll keep it in there this time.